What doesn't kill me makes me stronger. You've probably heard this phrase so many times it's lost its meaning. It's on Instagram posts, gym walls, and motivational posters. But when Friedrich Nietzsche first wrote these words in 1888, he wasn't just creating a catchy quote. He had unlocked a fundamental truth about human psychology that scientists are only now beginning to understand. Most people think Nietzsche was just saying that we can survive tough times, but he was making a far more radical claim. Suffering and struggle aren't just things to endure. They're actually essential for becoming who you're meant to be. Think about a muscle. If you want it to grow stronger, you have to deliberately damage it through exercise. The muscle literally breaks down, and in repairing itself, it becomes more powerful than before. Nietzsche saw that our minds and spirits work the same way. This idea was revolutionary in Nietzsche's time, and it's even more relevant today. We live in a world obsessed with comfort and convenience, one-click shopping, instant entertainment, comfortable lives, everything designed to eliminate discomfort. Social media feeds us carefully curated content that confirms what we already believe. Dating apps promise to find our perfect match without the risk of real-world rejection. Food delivery services mean we never have to leave our comfort zone. Even our education often prioritizes making students feel good over challenging them to grow. But here's the problem Nietzsche identified. This constant comfort is making us weaker. Just like a muscle that's never challenged will atrophy, a person who never faces real difficulty becomes psychologically fragile. Look at the rising rates of anxiety and depression, particularly among young people who've grown up in this bubble-wrapped world. The very things we think are protecting us are actually preventing us from developing the strength we need to face life's inevitable challenges. When Nietzsche talks about strength, he isn't referring to the kind of superficial toughness that's often celebrated in our culture. He's talking about something much deeper, the capacity to face life's fundamental uncertainty and challenges without breaking. This is the kind of strength that doesn't just help you survive difficult, but actually helps you transform them into opportunities. We're facing a crisis of resilience, but most people don't even realize it. Look around and you'll see an entire industry built on making life easier. Self-help books promising happiness without struggle, meditation apps offering instant peace, and social media influencers selling the dream of effortless success. But Nietzsche saw right through this illusion over a century ago. He noticed something peculiar about human nature. The more we try to eliminate struggle from our lives, the more we become enslaved by our own weakness. Think about it. When was the last time you deliberately chose to do something difficult? Not because you had to, but because you knew it would make you stronger. For most people, the answer is rarely or never. This matters more than you might think. Studies from the American Psychological Association show that children who are constantly protected from failure struggle to develop coping mechanisms for real-world challenges. In fact, research from Harvard's Center for the Developing Child reveals that some stress isn't just unavoidable, it's essential for healthy psychological development. Nietzsche's insight goes even deeper. He discovered that our greatest moments of happiness and meaning don't come from avoiding challenges, but from overcoming them. When psychologists interviewed people about their most meaningful life experiences, they consistently mentioned times of difficulty that they successfully navigated, not times of ease. But here's where it gets interesting. Nietzsche wasn't just talking about big, dramatic challenges. He saw that even small daily resistance, choosing the harder path, facing uncomfortable truths, pushing beyond our comfort zone, build what he called spiritual muscle. Every time you choose to face a difficulty head-on instead of avoiding it, you're not just solving a problem. You're literally rewiring your brain to more resilient. This isn't just philosophy. Modern neuroscience confirms it. Studies using brain imaging show that people who regularly face and overcome challenges develop stronger neural pathways in regions associated with emotional regulation and problem solving. In other words, Nietzsche was right. Struggle doesn't just make you metaphorically stronger. It physically changes your brain. The stakes couldn't be higher. In a world that's becoming increasingly unpredictable and challenging, our collective addiction to comfort isn't just making us weaker, it's setting us up for failure when we inevitably face real difficulties. But there's hope, and it lies in understanding and applying Nietzsche's radical insight about the true nature of human strength. Our modern world has created what Nietzsche would call a comfortable prison. Think about how Amazon predicts what you want before you even know you want it. Netflix suggests shows based on what you already like. Social media algorithms feed you opinions you already agree with. It feels good, but this constant comfort is like a cage made of cushions. What Nietzsche noticed And what Silicon Valley won't tell you is that this comfort is actually draining your life force. He called it passive nihilism, a slow, comfortable descent into meaningless. It's not dramatic like depression. It's more like a quiet numbness. You feel it when you spend hours scrolling through social media, feeling increasingly empty but unable to stop. Or when you take the easy route at work, knowing you're capable of more, but choosing safety over growth. Let's look at what this comfort trap actually does to your brain. Research from Stanford University shows that when we consistently choose the path of least resistance, our brain's reward system actually changes. We become more sensitive to discomfort and less capable of handling stress. It's like having a muscle that's been in a cast. The protection makes it weaker, not stronger. Real-world examples are everywhere. Look at how many college students struggle with basic resilience. A study from Boston College found that students who were overprotected by their parents, what we now call helicopter parenting, showed significantly lower ability to cope with everyday challenges. They struggled with everything from handling roommate conflicts to managing their own schedule. This comfort trap shows up in unexpected ways. Dating apps promise to make finding love easier, but rates of meaningful relationships are declining. Remote work offers convenience, but often leads to isolation and reduced career growth. Even our entertainment has become a form of escape, binge-watching shows that demand nothing from except passive consumption. Nietzsche saw this coming. He warned that a society focused on eliminating all discomfort would create what he called last men. People so comfortable, they've lost the ability to dream big or take meaningful risks. We have invented happiness, say these last men, mistaking comfort for genuine fulfillment. But real happiness, as Nietzsche knew, comes from a very different source, one that requires us to break free from the comfort trap entirely. The most insidious part? This comfort addiction doesn't feel like a problem. It feels like progress. But while we're congratulating ourselves on making life easier, we're actually making ourselves weaker. And this weakness shows up precisely when we strengthen the most, during life's inevitable challenges and opportunities for growth. This is where Nietzsche's most powerful insight comes, his concept of will to power. But forget what you've heard about it. It's not about dominating others. It's about the human drive to overcome resistance. Think of it like water. When it hits a rock, it doesn't stop or retreat. It finds a way through, around, or over. In doing so, it creates something beautiful: canyons, valleys, new paths. Nietzsche discovered something fascinating about human nature. We're at our best when we're overcoming challenges, not crushing them, not avoiding them, but engaging with them. Look at someone like Steve Jobs. After being publicly fired from Apple, he didn't retreat into comfort. He faced the humiliation head-on, started Pixar, and eventually returned to make Apple the most valuable company in the world. The resistance he faced didn't break him, it transformed him. Modern psychology calls this post-traumatic growth. Studies show that about 60% of people who face serious adversity report positive changes they wouldn't trade away. But here's what's interesting. It's not the trauma that causes the growth. It's how you engage with it. This is where Nietzsche's idea of amor fati, love of fate, becomes crucial. It means not just accepting challenges, but embracing them as opportunities for growth. Think about Navy SEALs training. They have something called Hell Week, 5.5 days of constant physical challenges with less than 4 hours of sleep total. But here's what's fascinating. The people who make it through aren't usually the strongest physically. Research shows they're the ones who view the experience as a challenge to be overcome, rather than a threat to be feared. This is exactly what Nietzsche was talking about. The power isn't in the resistance itself, but in how you relate to it. But you don't need to be a Navy SEAL to apply this principle. Every day offers opportunities for beneficial resistance. When you feel the urge to check your phone, resist it. When you want to take the elevator, take the stairs. When you're tempted to avoid a difficult conversation, lean into it. Each small act of voluntary discomfort builds what Nietzsche called your spiritual muscle. The science behind this is remarkable. Studies in neuroplasticity show that every time you push through resistance, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways that make you more resilient, more capable of handling future challenges. It's like you're building a psychological immune system, one challenge at a time. This is what makes Nietzsche's insight so revolutionary. He understood that resistance isn't just something to endure, it's the very thing that gives life its depth and meaning. Without it, we remain shallow, untested versions. With it, we become who we're capable of being. Become who you are. This was one of Nietzsche's most famous challenges. But what does it actually mean? For Nietzsche, your true self isn't something you find by following a self-help book or meditation app. It's something you forge through confronting challenges. Think of it like a statue hidden in a block of marble. Each challenge you face chips away at what's not really you, revealing your authentic self underneath. Recent research in psychology backs this up in fascinating. A groundbreaking study from the University of North Carolina found that people who regularly push their boundaries don't just get stronger, they discover capabilities they never knew they had. It's like having a house with rooms you've never entered. Each challenge opens a new door, revealing another aspect of who you could be. Look at someone like Maya Angelou. She faced unimaginable trauma in her early life, but instead of letting it define her, she used it as material for transformation. Her autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, wasn't just about surviving trauma, it was about how facing her past head-on helped her discover her voice as a writer. This is exactly what Nietzsche meant when he said our wounds can become our strengths. The latest neuroscience research reveals something remarkable. Every time you push through a challenge, your brain creates new neural pathways. A 2023 study from Stanford's Neuroscience Institute showed that people who regularly face and overcome difficulties develop stronger connections in areas of the brain associated with resilience and emotional regulation. You're not just metaphorically becoming stronger, you're literally rewiring your brain to be more capable. But here's the part most people miss. This transformation isn't about becoming someone different. It's about becoming more fully yourself. Think about how a diamond forms. It's not about adding anything new. It's about applying pressure to what's already there. The pressure reveals the diamond's true nature. This is what Nietzsche meant when he said that great pressure can produce great beauty. The practical implications are profound. Each time you choose the harder path, having that difficult conversation, starting that challenging project, facing that, you're not just completing a task. You're engaging in what Nietzsche called self-overcoming, the process of becoming who you truly are.